You all right, we're in. All right, welcome to episode 4 of the Cage Walk podcast with Caleb, presented by OddSmoker MMA. Today, I have the pleasure of having Noah Hirt here with me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing all right, doing good. Sorry. Let's jump into it. So, I know we went ahead in one direction, but let's start at the beginning of your MMA career and what got you into it.
Yeah, I started watching. I'd say the very beginning. I started watching some old street beef videos and like street fight videos, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. They're getting them. And when I became 18, I was able to go out to street beefs and actually compete. And my first experience with that was like, oh, I want to get into this. I want to watch it. And I don't remember my first MMA match I watched or anything, but I know from that point on was when I really dove deep into MMA and just, gained a passion for it.
That's awesome. Did you have any training or anything before you turned 18? Like did you do any taekwondo or anything, or is that just the first thing you ever did?
No, yeah, MMA is the first thing. Up until this point, I've been self trained. I've gotten to train with a gym in this town I moved to for like a month. But other than that, I've been self trained through everything YouTube. I didn't have a sports background. I tried basketball at one point, but it didn't do me no good. I was a chubby kid, so I was always on the bench. And I just, MMA is a individual sport, so if you win or lose, it's on you. And I decided to take that avenue, and so far it's done me good.
That's what's up. Definitely has. You're known me, my husband, a fan of yours. Um, what is your MMA career like now? Your record, your last fight, how did that go, and any upcoming fights?
Yeah, so I'm 4-1 right now. I'm I went 3-0, and I took a loss, and I jumped back on. I took a 3 week notice fight up for Anthony Pettis' promotion in Wisconsin. Went up there on 3 week notice, got the job done, and now I'm looking to get back on a winning streak. I I fight April 19th up in Paducah, Kentucky for Rival FC, and then 3 weeks after that I'm fighting up at Lake of the Ozarks for Knuckled Up Promotions, and I'm looking to get 2 back-to-back title wins.
So, uh, and that's what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I can't think right now. But two two title shots in such a short time frame. What has training been like?
Just a lot of grinding. I've just sharpening up the tools. I've been in the gym every day, focused on recovery, strength, stamina. Just I feel like I got speed that a lot of heavyweights don't have. I think I lack power that a lot of heavyweights have, but I think I make up for that with my grit and just my hard work in the gym. I've been putting in the time, the hours, and I've gotten to actually spar this camp, which is I feel like has leveled me up a lot, and I'm excited to show it off in the cage.
We're definitely looking forward to it as well. What is going to? So I know you don't have that power that a lot of heavyweights do. So what is um your thing? What's your main fighting style?
They all get tired eventually. I want to grind on them, wear them out. I don't come from a wrestling background or anything like that, but when you touch these guys, they get to hurting. So touch their chin, back them up against the fence, wear them out over and over and over again until they can't take it anymore. And so far, I've been able to do that 4 times. And my opponent coming up, he says, I haven't put anybody out in the first round, but I might just change that up this one and put him out, lights out first round. I've been working on sitting down on my shots, power shots. I feel a lot more explosive and powerful this camp, and I think I can take this fight just about anywhere I want to and win submission, TKO, KO, however I want to come the night.
You can actually do whatever you set your mind to. That's for sure. Let's see. I don't want this to be so quick. Um, okay, so let's get and your support system? Who do you have in your corner? Not just cage corner, but in general. Who's really been there throughout your career?
Yeah,
That
my
keeps.
my girlfriend, she's been there since day one, supporting me. My first few, she wasn't able to go to, so she watched at the house, supported. She picks up the slack when I'm in training camp, so I'm busy all the time, and we have a kid, so having a child takes a lot of work in general, and she really picks up the slack, and that I'm not able to give because I'm spending all these hours in the gym. So without her, I mean, she supports me. She gives up a lot of her time to really help me, raise our child and do things when I'm at the gym. So she's definitely someone who just mentally is in my corner. She's always there, and I'm grateful for that. My mom's a huge help too. She's been there same way, since day one. She helps, and they're both going to be at these both of these fights coming up. So, I'm undefeated in front of them. The only one I lost, they weren't there, so I think they might just be my good luck charm.
That's sweet. um, so okay, what is it like being a fighter but also being a parent? Because you said that your girlfriend picks up that slack. So how are you able to handle that balance of work and train and be a father?
I think that's the key word you said is just balance. Trying to find the balance between making sure food's on the table, making sure the family's good, and also making sure I'm working hard in the gym. It takes a lot of energy, especially when fight camp is going on, and just making sure I'm doing my part as a man to be a good father, a good boyfriend, good supporter, and also putting my energy towards being a good fighter because that's what I want career wise. It's just all about balance. I think right now I'm still trying to find that balance. I think I'm almost there, but I think there's still, I could probably not be so lazy sometimes in certain avenues, and it always feels like there's more you can do, especially as a dad. There's times where you're tired from the gym and you get home and kid comes to you and they want to play automatically, be like, I gotta, you're stinky from the gym, so you're like, hey, I gotta go shower, and you just feel like everything you could do, everything a little, you could do more, in every avenue.
Oh yeah, that most definitely. Even like for me, I'm not a fighter, but I same thing, but different aspect. So I understand that 100% of just trying to find that balance, of having a family and then working full time, and for me, be doing my podcast and my everything else that our business does. And sometimes I just want a break, So
Exactly. Yeah.
I get that. I want to jump back to camp real quick. I haven't really had the conversation with any fighters yet about um, we talked just like just in the gym, but what about outside the gym? What about like your eating habits, how you're cutting your weight or gaining weight or where you have to be for that to make weight?
Yeah, so this camp I've really locked in diet wise. Um, I've always been pretty heavy, and you know, I've always just, if I look at a certain food, sometimes I'll gain weight. I'm that kind of just body type. It's hard to keep it off. But this camp, I've really locked in food wise. I think I'm starting to come into terms with knowing what's good for my body and what's not. I've locked in on complex carbs, getting my proteins in. If I have a carb, it's like sweet potato or low carb tortillas. No breads, no pastas, no soda. Especially this week, we're coming up on fight week now, so just locking in on everything, making sure I'm fueled good for the fight. After weigh-in, still keeping the diet good, keeping it there, but making sure I'm fueled up for fight night. And then after night, or after the fight, get that hand raised, get the belt, have a couple slices of pizza or something, but get right back into it because I have another shot 3 weeks after, and I don't want to slack in any avenue. I want to make sure the boxes are checked, and just I've done everything right the right way. Hydration. Right now I'm water loading for the weight cut, so lots of water, bloat. So it's
But that's good though that you're finding that balance of what you need to do and what not to do. You know. So on a typical, so I know this is a little bit different because you do have back-to-back title shots, and you're going right back into camp, getting prepared for your next fight. Do you have a favorite? I'm just asking fun questions now. Um, do you have a favorite food that you like to eat after a fight?
Uh, Not yet. I really haven't had enough to say like, oh, this is great. But I think pizza is just an easy go-to. You order it, it's available almost because I travel for all my fights, so
Mhm.
I don't really know what's available anywhere. But usually it's late at night by the time you get back to the hotel, and a pizza place is almost always going to be in the town and available. So Papa John's pizza, I think, has just been amazing. Papa John's or Domino's, you get in there, stuffed crust, you just all insane amount of calories. You just calorie dump after the fight. You're hyped because you won. So, getting that little treat afterwards and something sweet, little cookie or something. It's like the icing on the cake for the night.
Just can't go wrong with stuffed crust pizza. That's probably my
Exactly.
favorite. What else? What do you so go? You train, you're a dad, you work, but when you have free time, what do you and your family like to do?
Uh, if it's not, I like to, especially right now while I'm trying to lose weight, even, when I'm not just in the gym, I like to do, take my daughter to the park, make sure it's something relatively active so I'm not just, you know, uh, sitting down, sitting around. So going on walks outside, getting some sun. The weather's been crazy lately, but today's a good day, so we're probably going to go out after just, little walks and love video games. I might get some heat for it, but I'm a big Fortnite guy. I like Fortnite, yeah, UFC. Me and my girlfriend play Fortnite together, so it's we just got to win right before this call. We're if there's any duos out there who think they can take us, bring them on.
So, hey, look, me and my husband used to play Call of Duty together,
Yeah,
so I understand that couple gaming right there.
it's great.
Um,
Great time.
it's fun to have that though because it's just something else you get to do together. It doesn't always have to be going out, partying, going out to dinner. You just have that connection there. Just to hang out at the house and play video games. So I mean,
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a homebody, so it's something where you just kick your feet up, relax. Neither of us, we're not party, we don't drink, smoke, nothing. I've always been like that, and I think that's also gonna help me later on in my career because I've been mostly straight. I mean, obviously I've tried alcohol, I've tried whatever, but I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I think that just for my body is going to help me like later on in my career where some people maybe they smoke or something their lungs might have damage from that alcohol, their liver might be a little something. So I might not look like it because I am a little on the chubbier side. That is my kryptonite, food. But other than that, I mean, internally, like healthy as a human could be.
that's good. That's good though. Um, that you get to have that. So, um, all right, let's get back to your MMA career. I'm sorry, I'm jumping all around. I want to try to keep my interviews the same but different. I don't want it to be always the same. I want to add in different stuff to each
Oh yeah.
different interview. So if I'm bouncing back and forth, I just have thoughts coming to my mind. So I do apologize. I
Oh no, you're good.
was also up all night watching those fights last night. I don't know if you watched them.
The great fight card. We needed it
That
like this.
last night was an amazing fight night. That's for sure. I feel like I'm still recovering from last night. So everyone wants to get to the UFC. Obviously, all fighters, that's their end goal. Is that your end goal?
Absolutely. I think UFC. I just don't think I don't think any promotion is going to be able to build themselves like the UFC. I think promotion wise, fighter wise, they're just at the top of the level. There's even if a new promotion comes along, they're not going to be able to build themselves up for at least a decade, you know, to even be close to UFC's level. You seen GFL recently. They
Yeah.
tried coming up. And they already have two canceled events due to financial situation. So they've got all these high named, high level fighters towards the end of their career that they signed, but they haven't got the fight yet, and they just canceled 2 events before they've even taken off.
I think it sucks, because there's definitely some awesome names going on that card. It would have been awesome to see, but
I,
like
I
you said,
was super excited to see the Dylan Dennis and Tony Ferguson fight. That
yeah,
I think that
go
was
ahead.
I was excited for that one for sure.
Yeah, that would, and I think Anthony Pettis was signed as well. That would have been a great one to see.
Oh yeah, him and Benson Henderson for the
Yeah,
fourth time. But Pet, after meeting him at the last event I fought at, I mean, he's a down to earth guy, so I always want to see him get in there and win.
um, so, but yeah, that it sucked to see, because they're definitely, like you said, had big names, and um, that card specifically, there's no one I've met on there, but from the post interviews and seeing those fighters in the UFC and how they were, I mean, they're definitely some down to earth guys, and it
Oh,
just sucks to see like they had another chance, even though they're not in the UFC. So, but I was asking about your end goal and stuff. Um, I was kind of see, what's your plan to get there? I know everyone, people say train, do this, do that, but so I want to hear about another, person. How do you plan on getting there?
I mean, I think I have the perfect roadmap. God willing, things go my way. I think after these 2 fights, I'm taking probably the rest of the year off to get down to light heavyweight. I think light heavyweight would be closer to where I would excel at. I've done good at heavyweight, and if I win both of these, I'm projected to be like top 10 in the nation as an amateur heavyweight. Um, but I know light heavyweight, I mean, there's going to be, that's like 60 extra pounds you don't got to deal with from another person, depending on how much they cut. Um, but I already kind of have a roadmap. I'm going to try to, I want to do at least one amateur fight at light heavyweight to kind of test myself, see how I feel at light heavyweight. And then I'm hoping to reach out to LFA. And LFA, as you know, there's so many people who've gone from LFA to the UFC, so I think that would be a great avenue for me. And it's super possible because when I was 3-0, I had a chance to take a short notice fight um, on their card, but I would have had to drop the Parker fight that I ended up losing. So I would have ended up probably going to LFA, taking a loss on their stage. So I'm grateful I didn't take that, and I, stepped back and I took that loss because that really has helped me grow as a fighter. And I think when I do show up to LFA, because I think that is the next step. I think I'm on a level, and I hope to show that I'm on a level that I can be an LFA fighter. And I'd like to stick with them for a bit, put on some shows, and then hopefully the UFC catches eyes, and I go pro mid next year or so, and get some wins racked up, and maybe head to the Contender Series.
Awesome. And and that right there is a plan, man. Like a lot of people say, just do what I'm doing, or just keep on going. But you actually have a roadmap. You have goals. You have those steps ready to go. And I think LFA is a great promotion. I have some fighters on there that I work with who have fought LFA, and watching them and stuff. I love that promotion. It's a great starting point to build your way up to the UFC. So that's an awesome goal right there. Definitely doable, I think, for you. I, I unfortunately have not been able to come see you fight, but when you're done fighting, we do watch them, and you are definitely one hell of a fighter. Um, Hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be at that May card for Lake of Ozarks. I think we plan on being there. Um, I'll support you, so super excited for that.
Sweet. That's going to be a great card too. Something else I'm kind of priding myself on is this will be, if things go right, Sean Woodson's going to be in my opponent's corner that night. So this will be the second time I have a UFC or ex UFC fighter in the opponent's corner who's trained them, who's helped them throughout camp. So that just kind of given me, high, not necessarily high level opposition in the sense where I'm fighting them, but they're still picking their brain, giving my opponents information, and I can, being able to win against somebody who has that kind of information is just another level up to me, and I think would really I like to think that as an amateur, I have great fight IQ. I feel like I can adjust mid fight. I think in my second fight, I adjusted mid fight and did really good. I had a completely different game plan for the guy, and he just came out swinging. So I had to swap up mid fight, and I think I did good there. I think with these next two fights, I just want to show that my IQ is there. Like I am an amateur, but I also have the experience and the IQ of like a guy higher level, and I want to show that off in these next two fights coming up.
And even though have Sean Woodson, if he's in your opponent's corner, that's eyes on you. You know,
Exactly.
so to have, and like you said, the in your last fight too, there was another UFC that's eyes. And as an amateur, that's what you need. You need all those people, connections, whatever, to have those eyes on you. And the fact that you do have a higher fight IQ than a lot of amateurs is really awesome. I was sure I was going to ask you about how do you adjust to um, a fight if it doesn't go your way, and go your way as in you trained a certain way, but like you said, your last one just came out swinging, and you had to change your whole game plan. So you already did answer that for me. But I mean, what goes through your mind like when that happens? Um,
I
'Cause
think it's hard to say because it's all really it happens in the moment. It's just the thought process of being in there and being able to be calm enough to control your emotions. Because if you get hit with something hard, you either want to get your get back or you want to run away. It's almost fight or flight. And like say for my last fight, I fought Kobe Kruger. He was coming up out of Roofer Sport. I pronounced that wrong, but with Anthony Pettis, Sergio, Duke Rufus training, like great gym. So I was like, oh, he might be like a high level kicker, kickboxer, where he's gonna. So my goal for that, especially on 3 weeks notice, I couldn't really, get my physique better or anything. I was more focused on getting weight off. So getting up close to him, clinching, negating anything like that he could have thrown my way was definitely the game plan. And I think IQ wise, it was the perfect game plan for a guy like that. I think just if like from what I've shown in my fights, I think a lot of guys. There's only one fight where I've went down. I've one loss, and he pressured me. And I think some guys are gonna think, oh, you pressure him, and he's gonna drop. And I hope they think that. I hope they come in. I hope they press because they're gonna catch a shot. I've that fight. It was an embarrassing performance to say the least. And I've worked so hard. That fight has been on my mind so much, to where I do everything. I put myself in that scenario again, same position, same spot. Simulated it to where like, what could I have done? How could I have moved, or should I have thrown? Circled, etc. And I've simulated that hundreds of times at this point. And I just think that there's not a known way to beat me right now. There's one guy who's pressured me, got me down, but other than that, it's like, do I grapple with him? Can I outstrike him? They're not faster than me. They might be a little stronger than me, but they've got to get to me to use that. And I think I can just bounce around a lot of these guys at heavyweight, and play the IQ game, play smart, and wear them down.
It's definitely an advantage right there. A lot of amateurs just go in just to get the win. You think it through, and you're thinking on a fight that happened months ago or whatever, and it still to this day sits in you, and you still go back to, all right, I remember in this last fight I did that, it didn't work. So what do I need to do for this fight, for my upcoming one? And I feel like some fighters I've talked to, they don't think like that. So like whatever was a loss.
Yeah,
So the fact that you sit there and you think about, well, I remember doing this in my last one and it just was terrible. Um, that's I don't want to say mature because I feel, but like that it helps your IQ, it helps with you as a fighter, it helps you build. So
for sure.
that's something that makes sense.
Even in the wins, I feel like as a fighter, you have to think like that. Like I won my last fight, but there's a moment in there, and if you go back and watch the fight, you'll see there's I'm sure my opponents are gonna watch them. If y'all are watching my fights, by the way, I have all my fights posted on YouTube. Y'all go subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're gonna watch them, at least subscribe. Uh, I went for a Superman punch and I got caught with an overhand right perfectly on the chin, and I got dazed. That was a great shot from him. And so even though I won the fight, I look back at that moment. I'm like, wow, maybe I could have cut an angle before trying to throw the shot or something. And I obsess over these little moments where I'm like, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that. And I think when you make it an obsession, that's when you really just crease out, what's wrong in your game. And I think I've hyper obsessed myself this camp with what's wrong with my game to improve. And I think April 19th and May 10th, I'm going to show that, there's not a clear way to victory. You're going to, if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to grind. You're going to have to take some shots. And if you can get through what I have, maybe you have a chance, but I don't think they're going to get through the shots I give them.
I am still looking forward to your upcoming fights. That is for sure. First one I'll definitely be watching is streaming. Second one, fingers crossed, I'll be there. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Add in where we can find you on socials or any shout outs to anyone.
Yeah, so socials, Instagram, and I have a Facebook page at the Hirt Business, Hirt, and you can also find me on Facebook, TikTok under Noah Hirt. I also have a YouTube channel, Noah Hirt. Go subscribe. All my fights are on there. There's even a little behind the scenes of my last event where, you got to see some of the behind the scenes of an amateur fighter. So, I'm hoping I'd like to put out more content like that, but I don't have a camera at the moment, like a nice camera. So doing it on an iPhone just doesn't. I want it to be good production. So eventually I'll get to that point. Yeah, go follow me. Go like the videos, subscribe. All that. I need followers. I need the eyes. So if you're watching this, go follow me. That's how fighters grow in this sport. I need I'm an entertainer. I'm here to entertain y'all. Y'all follow me so I can entertain more people.
Yeah, everyone definitely follow Noah. Share this video. Share his. Anything else?
Shout out to my girl. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to all the guys out here at War Eagle who's sparred with me, helped me, beat me up, and got me prepped for this training camp. Also, want to give a big shout out to my opponent, April 19th, Sam Sloan. If you're watching this, buddy, I'm coming for you, dog. I'm coming. You say I can't, yeah, I can't put you out in round one, but we're gonna see.
Now you gotta go prove that. You got get out there and do that.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thank you for so much for joining me. As I like to throw in end of all my videos, make sure to follow my account at OddSmokerMMA for these videos, for any merch designs, UFC posts, anything. Just, give us a follow. Noah, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I am so looking forward to your next two fights, man, and good luck with the rest of your camp and that fight next weekend in May 10th. And I hope to get you back on here after you have those two belts.
Hey, it was great talking to you. Thank you for the interview.
Of course, you have a great rest of your day.
You too.